part 4 of the platinum jewelry refining series. This is our, I think it's iridium in here because it didn't dissolve when we were dissolving that platinum. What I've been doing is just reaching down in here with a pipette, pulling some of this liquid off and transferring it into another container over here, and then I'll add this container, the contents in here, to my stock pot. And I'll just rinse this iridium. I think it's iridium. I don't know, we might have to take it and get it tested somehow. And I'm just going to keep rinsing the iridium over and over until I get all this liquid rinsed off of it. And then all I have left is in there is some pure water. There, I just disturbed it. I'm going to add some distilled water now, and we'll rinse this over and over like this. Now we'll have to let this settle overnight probably until all that stuff settles out of there. We'll transfer the rinse into this container, add this to the stock pot, and I'll just do that over and over until I got all the iridium rinsed off of this material, of this solution, and it's just sitting in some pure water. I've rinsed this about 3 times now, and you can see the iridium down there. However, I've got this suspension, this colloidal suspension of iridium in here. It's metallic iridium. There's a little bit of it down on the bottom of this beaker. This is the rinse solution that I've been taking out of here. This came out of our main solution. So it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to have some colloidal iridium in our platinum solution. My plan is to attempt a hydrolysis with sodium bromate of this platinum solution. But before we try to do that, I've got to get that colloidal iridium that's going to be in here dissolved. So I'm going to begin by adding some hydrochloric acid, some fresh hydrochloric acid, maybe about 100 milliliters, I guess. Set our solution up here on the stir plate, dropping in a stir bar, and we're gonna stir the solution. We're gonna start heating the solution, and now what we want to do is I'm going to measure out a little bit of nitric acid here. Not much, maybe about, I guess, let's just go with 30 milliliters of nitric acid. Here we go. We're going to add the nitric acid to our solution up here and hopefully try to dissolve that finely divided iridium that's in a colloidal state. We're just going to boil this real hard now. Try to get that iridium to go into solution, and then we're going to have to evaporate it all the way down to drive off any excess nitric acid that might remain in our solution before we go to the next step. I've got this evaporated down to a syrup. And what we're going to do is pull it down off the heat now. Now what I'll do is add just a little bit of hydrochloric acid to rehydrate it a little bit. Adding a little distilled water to dilute it back down. The goal of this last Aqua Regia treatment is to try to get the colloidal suspension of iridium dissolved out of this solution. This is what our filter from our last filtering looked like. It has suspension of iridium that got filtered out of the solution. So now what we'll do is we're going to filter this solution and pour it through this filter and see if we get any iridium trapped in that filter. Hopefully there won't be any. I'm using my vacuum system here, and I've got the windows and doors open here. It's blowing a cross breeze going that way towards my vacuum pump. Looks like we still got a little bit of colloidal iridium in here that got trapped in our filter, but not as much. The next logical move would be to go after the rest of the colloidal iridium in here with another Aqua Regia boil. But I'm not going to do that. It's going to have to settle for a little bit of iridium in my platinum. Adding a stir bar to my beaker. Now we're going to transfer the solution into this beaker. Now we're going to add some more hydrochloric acid up to the 500 milliliter level. Covering this up, I'm going to put it up here on our heat source. We're going to start stirring and add some heat. Here's a description of what we're going to attempt, a process known as the bromate hydrolysis. The objective of this technique is to separate the platinum from the other platinum group metals and the base metals by formation of their hydroxides. The platinum, not forming a hydroxide, remains in solution for further refining. I'm making a concentrated solution of sodium bromate. Let's add some distilled water to form our solution. This sodium bromate doesn't like to go into solution in water very well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stick it up here on some heat and hopefully help put that sodium bromate in solution. I think we got enough of this to dissolve now. Pull this down. Here we go. I've got my little dosing pump here. I'm going to stick the suction side of the hose down inside of our sodium bromate. I've got a glass tube on a piece of polyvinyl tubing. We're going to put this down into the solution in our beaker. Here we go. We're going to turn our pump on and start adding some sodium bromate very carefully here, just a little bit at a time. You can see it going up the tube right there. I'm going to turn it down so we get a real low, slow flow into the beaker. Here we go. Here's our first. Oh, there it goes. It's going to bubble up big time. Got to dose it in real slow so we don't boil it over. You can see it when I dose the pump. You can see the sodium bromate solution drifting down the tube and going into the platinum solution there. I've got the tube extended down below the surface of the solution. That's what the directions say to do. Dosing pump off, and you'll see the sodium bromate drain out of the tube and down into our solution. Turn it. got just about all of this solution delivered into the platinum up there on the stir plate now. And so I think I'm pretty much done with the addition of the sodium bromate. I'm going to pull the delivery tube out of here now. And we're going to make a saturated solution of sodium bicarbonate. Now what we'll do is start adding small doses to our solution up here to neutralize it. I don't know what this is going to do either. I have no clue. Here we go. And get a pH on our solution. It's supposed to be going to pH 7. Can't really tell where that's at right now. I'm adding some more sodium bicarbonate to neutralize our solution. These strips are a little more accurate. So we're going to dip this in. Let's see what kind of reading we get with this. Adding some more sodium bicarbonate. Okay, I'm completely flying blind here. We're supposed to adjust the pH of this solution with this sodium carbonate, but I have no way to accurately measure the pH of our solution. I don't know what it's supposed to look like when I get it to the proper pH. And I have no idea if I put the proper amount of sodium bromate in there. I don't see any kind of change occurring as I add this sodium carbonate. So not quite sure where to go next here. I know that adjustment of the pH is critical, but I have no way to measure it. So I think what we're going to do is just go ahead and kill the heat now, turn the stirring off, and let this cool down and see what we got. Forgot I had this meter. I got it out, and I calibrated it, and it's ready for use. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to use this pH meter to get a pH reading on our solution in here. Here we go. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's 0.1. Can you see that? 0.1 negative. And I think going into the negative zone, it's very acidic still. So we're going to turn the stirring back on and continue to add some sodium carbonate. Been working on this for about an hour, and I have not been able to get the pH to budge. I added a little bit of heat and a little stirring in our meter. It's like reading 0.2. So I got a long ways to go in order to be able to get this to the proper pH. According to the instructions, it's supposed to be a pH of 7.5. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to call it. This will, I'm going to turn the heat off and the stirring off on this. And we're going to conclude part 4 right here. And I'll pick this up first thing in the morning with a part 5. So this will conclude part 4 of the Platinum Jewelry Refining Series. Thank you for watching.